the needs of the person in the third row. And then somebody said, please, will you stop saying that because I sit in the third row. Please stop making. So we focus now on the needs of the people in the fourth row. But what is the purpose of that? It is to have a focus, a positive focus that we can build upon to plant a seed. To plant a seed. What are you focusing on right now in your life? How are you setting up the energy of your week? What are you doing to move your life forward? These are important questions. And it goes beyond positive thinking. Positive thinking is important. I remember the widow of Eric Butterworth, Olga Butterworth, told me that Eric had met with his friend, Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, and Peale told him, I take them as far as I can and then I send them on to you. And there's something about positive thinking that is important, but there's something deeper than that. It's a spiritual unfoldment that is unconditional, that moves beyond our judgments of positivity, negativity, but plants seeds in the middle of circumstances right where we are. The decision you make right now is the decision that you're going to be dealing with. It will be bearing fruit as the weeks go forward. This is the time you say, well, I want things to be a certain way. Well, the things will be the way they're going to be based upon the seeds you plant right now. But the question is, are you putting your energy into the positive, or are you putting your energy into the negative? James Dillet Freeman told me many years ago, there are only two kinds of religion in the world. There's life affirming and life denying. We all know the life denying religion. You know that one. I remember I spent a spiritual retreat at a convent in Atchison, Kansas. And it was mostly a retirement home for nuns who were Vatican II nuns, who were very progressive. And you looked on the wall, and there were icons of all the great saints, and there was Martin Luther King, and there was Gandhi, and, very, very non-traditional. And the sister in charge we spent the whole day with me, and she gave me the tour, a beautiful old building, and she said, we want you to take communion with us tomorrow. I know it's against the rules, but we don't care anymore. What are they going to do to us? And she said, we read unity literature and have for decades, and we want you up here as often as possible. And then she gave me a tour, and she said, and here's the bishop's room. He hasn't been here in 30 years, and we don't miss him. And this is, the positivity. Positivity. What, you have a life affirming religion or a life denying religion? You're putting your energy into that which is positive or that which is negative. This is true in science. This is true in science. Einstein said, somebody asked him, what's the most important question facing humanity? He said, the most important question facing humanity is whether this is a friendly or an unfriendly universe. If it's an unfriendly universe, you're going to use technology and science and philosophy to protect yourself from it and probably destroy it. But if you think it's a friendly universe, you're going to enhance and build upon. You're going to cultivate and use what you have at hand to build and to grow. And look at your life. Look at your life. What can you build upon right now? Oh, yes, but I got troubles. Great. That's weeding. That's weeding, and weeding is important. But you can't grow a garden weeding. Weeding is part of the deal, but you can't grow a garden. I remember a woman was so upset with me. She said, you're just too positive. Jesus hung on the cross. And I said, yes, but how long did he hang on the cross? Well, 6 hours. I said, how long did he live? 33 years. I said, do the math. You got to weed. You've got your negativity. You've got to deal with the problems in life. You've got to face, and we talked about that last week. You've got to pick up the trash every week or twice a week in Arlington Heights to put it out on the curb. But you don't jump in the bag and roll around in it. You move with it. You let it go. You let it go. So what is your focus? Is it life affirming or life denying? Are you planting seeds or are you just weeding? There's a time in life for both. But first you have to plant the seeds. First you've got to put that energy in there. How do you do that? You visualize, you nurture, you grow, you do what's there. You say, what if we do have a problem? I remember we lived for 5 years in Detroit. In 2001, this is according to economic scholars, in 2001 they went into recession. It didn't let up until 2007, whereupon they went into depression. And they were in a depression, which the rest of the country didn't, before the Shearson and Lehman Brothers thing. And what do we do? And it came intuitively. Hold a ceremony, and I thought it was going to be in a little local park where we did an affirmation. We asked the other churches to join into it, to lift up. I lift Detroit in prayer was our affirmation. We got bumper stickers made, and I thought we were going to have a little picnic with a couple hundred people there. And the same day, Lynn came to me and said, "No, I see it at Hart Plaza, which is the Times Square of that town, that city." And I talked to the religion columnist David Crum, who was helping to facilitate it and working with us on it. He said, "I see it at Hart Plaza." They both said the same day, not talking to each other. And that's where we did it. And there was, on a day with a monsoon, we had 1,000 people. And I had a dream 2 days before. I think I've shared this, about an underground thermonuclear test that was good. And that the fallout was all good. And I thought, what is that? It was like a good underground. Well, we got there, and this monsoon is coming down, and we don't know where we're going to set up. Okay, God, you're not cooperating. And somebody said, "What's down there?" And there was this little opening. We go down, and there was the whole underground shelter area. And we set up in there, and it was power-packed energy. You know how things get compacted? 1,000 people showed up anyway. The day before, the mayor, who you've heard of, who's in prison right now for the third time, resigned the day before. And the day after was Shearson Lehman Brothers hit. Now you say, and we think, well, our prayer didn't work very well, did it? No, we were being guided to do that work. That's the only reason why we even went to that town for 5 years, was to set that energy up to do that work. And once it was done, we were done. We were free to come here and do what we want to do. But that was important. That was important. We were planting a seed, and I remember the number one political columnist in town calling me up and saying, kind of disparaging about, what do you think prayer's going to do? I said, look, what are we all going to do right now? You could sit in the middle of the interstate and wait for a truck to hit you, or you can do what you can do. You write, I pray. I'm doing what I know how to do. Well, she obviously didn't have any religious beliefs, and she wasn't interested in any of that stuff. And she wrote a couple of kind of snarky columns about it. But 4 months later, there she was sitting in the front row, and I asked her, "What are you doing here?" And she said, "I wanted to be with the most positive people in the city." Whoa, the energy, the impact that took place as a result of that. Now, in your life, where can you plant seeds? You said, "Well, I don't feel like planting seeds right now. It just doesn't feel like fun." Jesus was not Pollyanna. Jesus told the people, you're going to deal with very difficult things, and here's the attitude that you need to take when you're dealing with the difficult things in life. It's planting positive seeds. It's affirming the yes. It is being in the life-affirming spirituality. And he spelled it out in the Beatitudes. Now, we think of the Beatitudes. Oh, how many times have you heard the Beatitudes? Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Could you imagine Jesus on the Mount talking in that kind of, no. But that's not even, that's the mistranslation of pious people. Do you know what the word blessed really meant? There's no word in English that fits it. It kind of is a word that means, and if you look at different translations, it's happy are, or oh, how lucky you are when, or oh, it's like hip, hip, hooray when, oh, God, this is great when. I mean, it's a word in Greek that we don't have any word in English for, and it ain't blessed. So the best I can come up with, but there's like an emphatic positivity. And he talks about mostly negative stuff. Wow. How fortunate, that's a better translation. How fortunate are those who know that they need something spiritually. The kingdom of heaven already belongs to them. Oh, how fortunate are those who are mourning. They will be comforted. Oh, how fortunate are those who are humble. They will receive the promises of God. Oh, how fortunate are those who have only the desire for God's will. God will satisfy them fully. Oh, how fortunate are those who show mercy to others. They will be shown mercy. Oh, how fortunate are those whose hearts are pure. they will see God. Oh, how fortunate are those who work for peace. They will be God's children. Oh, how fortunate are those who are persecuted because they do what God wanted them to do. The kingdom of heaven already belongs to them. And here comes the tough one. Oh, how fortunate are you when people insult you, persecute you, tell evil lies about you because of me. Be happy and glad, for a higher and greater reward is waiting for you, because this is just the way they treated the prophets before you. Wow. Oh, how fortunate. Yippee-yi-yo-ki-yay. This. But he's talking about an attitude that you need to take in the face of negativity, putting the positive energy in there and not ignoring the negative, but realizing, look, how many of you have gardened in the last week or plan to garden in the next week? Raise your hand. And you have to cultivate the soil and get it ready. You have to plant the plants and the seeds, and then you got to weed. But what percentage of your time do you spend weeding? Well, you could be overly fixated on weeds. I remember the very first time Lynn and I got a house with a garden, we didn't know anything about gardening. And so there we were, and there was all these big, ugly weeds coming up. And I pulled them all out. I left a couple of them, though, and they started giving off hollyhocks. They were hollyhocks. It was a forest of hollyhocks. I got rid of them because I was too diligent in my weeding. Sometimes you let it all come up and you sort it out. Jesus talked about that. He said, let the wheat and the weeds, the tares, come up together. Don't try to pull them up too early. Wait till they come up, and then you can sort them out and get rid of the ones you don't need. And that's true in your circumstances in life. You deal with life unconditionally. You take the attitude of, oh, how fortunate am I. What did Edwene Gaines say? She said, for 21 days, everything that happens, just say, oh, God, that's great, together. Oh, God, that's great. Now, I'm not a Pollyanna about this kind of thing, but you got to have primarily a positive reinforcement in your life. You look at your life right now. You've got things coming up in this week. What are you doing to set up the energy to bring about the outcomes that would be positive? You're doing it right now. This moment is when, if you want to know what you were doing back there, look at now, and you want to know what you're going to be experiencing in the future, look at your consciousness right now. Do this mentally, do this physically, do this in every aspect of your life. Move out of the no and into the yes. Really, two kinds of religion. There's life affirming and life denying. And we in Unity are so proud of ourselves for how positive we are. But the truth is that Unity's got the same stuff going on everybody else does. I remember my very first church, nothing had changed for 30 years. I came in there, I was 27 years old, and I started talking. One woman kept laughing when I'd say something funny, and the other people trying to go, shh, What did Bob Dylan say? If you're not busy being born, you're busy dying. Where are we with this? Are we building into our consciousness? And how do you do that? You do it with your silent meditation. You do it with your affirmative prayer. And we're all different. We're all different points in our path. We all have different kinds of brains and minds and bodies. We got to do it at the level and in the style that works for us. I remember my minister giving me a book when I was 15, The Game of Life and How to Play It. And I was such a nerd, and I was 2 years younger than everybody else in my grade. And I was not really a happy camper in school. And that there were these affirmations. And I'd heard about them because I was grew up in Unity, but hadn't really worked with them. So I started using them. Started using some of the affirmations that were in the book, by Florence Scovel Shinn, a book written in the 1920s. But I just started, and I would walk on the way home from school, and I would say the affirmations, silently or aloud, depending if anybody's looking at me. I would do that, and I did it, and I had people in math classes say, what's happened to you? You've changed. You're different, And it's like, what happened was I was working with these principles. You say, well, what good's that going to do me? It's going to do you a lot of good. When you plant a seed, you can't see the result right away. It takes a while for the result to show up, and you may have to do some weeding. But you know what? If you take the time right now, put your energy into the positive, the negative will take care of itself. What do you do, though? You say, well, what about the negative circumstances in the world? There's a lot of bad in the world. You know what? I read an interview. This is going to be challenging to some people, but I read an interview with the chief exorcist of the Roman Catholic Church in the United States, in which he said there was no personal devil, there was no place called hell, and there was no such thing as evil. Talking his way out of a job, right? But he said, if I believed in any of those things, I couldn't do what I do. He said, look, if you're shadow boxing, what do you do when you're shadow boxing? Punch the wall where the shadow is? No, you turn on the light, the shadow disappears. He said it has no intrinsic reality, what we call evil. St. Augustine said, evil has no substance. Well, he was a pretty orthodox guy, you know? So think about it. You turn on the light. You focus on the positive. That's what you do. You don't rail against, light a candle, don't curse the darkness. Understand that there are appearances of things. These things, if I turn out all the lights in the room and darken all the windows, there's something that appears called darkness, but it can't be measured because it's only absence of light. And the answer is not to scream and yell and try to run out of the room. You'll hurt yourself. The answer is to turn on the light. Turn on the light. How do you turn on the light? Well, the first thing you do is with a different attitude that you face the circumstances in your life. Oh, how fortunate I am that this so-and-so is doing this. Oh, how fortunate I am. And here's some of the affirmations that I've used. God, I am using this to grow my soul. I'm using this to heal my soul. This can only bless me. This can only heal me. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Together? Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. I'm not talking about going into denial. I'm talking about understanding that, yes, shadows on a wall have appearance, and they aren't real. They have no intrinsic substance. And you do not fight with the shadow on the wall unless you want to get bloody knuckles and waste your time. You turn on the light. So where in your life do you have to turn on the light? Where do you need to turn on the light? And how do you turn on the light? And again, there's so many methods of doing this. Just take something, and realize that your focus needs to be on the positive in the face of the negative. I share about my sister and her birth defects and my mom using that affirmation, you are God's whole and perfect child, aglow with God's light, life, and wisdom, for a year. The appearance was right there in front of her. My sister's birth defect, she wasn't going to be able to use her legs. But my mom kept her focus on the positive. She kept her focus on the positive. She didn't focus on the negative. She allowed it to be. She allowed it to grow up like the wheat in the weeds. She allowed it to be, but she focused on the positive and let go of the negative. Take that stance in your life. Where in my life can I focus on the positive? Where in my life can I shift my attitude? Where can I move from the level down here where it's called the Garden of Good and Evil? It's that where everything looks like it's black and white and good and bad, up to that place where things are vibrating at a rate where the negative is subsumed in the light. And it's a light that casts no shadow. This is a metaphor, but it's a metaphor that's very, very real. When you affirm the light of God, you're not affirming a light that has an oppositional force. There is only one presence and one power in your life. And the light that you're shining, when you're visualizing light in healing, visualizing light in your life, that light has no opposite. Jesus is associated with light over 100 times in the Gospels, either by his own speech or somebody else's. Over 100 times, light is that spiritual power of the Christ within you, and it has no opposite. It doesn't set up opposition. That's why Jesus said, agree with your adversary quickly. He wasn't saying pretend like you don't have one. What did John F. Kennedy say? Love your enemies, just don't forget their names. It's okay to be aware of these things, but move from that oppositional stance into, I'm going to turn on the light. This is shadow boxing. I'm not going to give this power. It's a powerful stance that you take when you move out of the oppositional, pairs of opposites down here, up to that place where the light is shining and there's no shadow on the wall. You don't have anything to fight. And it's an interesting dynamic. This shows up in every aspect of life. Many of us are doing the unexpected income program, and that's out there on the table. You can get a book out there, and I want you to. We're going to take it as an affirmation as our closing meditation. My prayer treatment for unexpected income, which is in your bulletin. So if you could pull that out. But while you do, I just want to share one thing about unity and positivity. You know, Charles Fillmore was always positive, always positive. A friend of mine met the man who at that time owned many insurance companies, Ewing Kauffman, also the Kansas City Royals. And you see his name, the Kauffman Foundation, he's since passed, on PBS shows, still paying for things. He was an incredible philanthropist, a wonderful, positive man. My friend met him and identified himself as a unity minister. And Ewing Kauffman, who's Jewish, said to him, I remember Charles Fillmore. My first job was I delivered laundry in downtown Kansas City. And my favorite customer was Charles Fillmore. And the reason why is because every time I saw him, he would tell a joke. And they were always really funny, and about half of them weren't appropriate from a religious leader. He was always positive. He was always moving forward, not getting stuck in this thing. So what you do is you take some affirmations, you take positive statements of truth, you build them into your consciousness. It sounds so simple. It requires us, however, to actually do it. So let's do it. So let's just take my prayer treatment for unexpected income together. I dwell in the midst of infinite abundance. The abundance of God is my infinite source. The river of life always freely flows. It flows through me into lavish expression. Good comes to me through unexpected avenues. God works in a myriad of ways to bless me. I now open my mind to receive my good. Everything true is good, and everything good is true. Wonderful and wondrous things happen. With God as my source, everything amazes me. I give freely and fearlessly into life, and life gives back to me with fabulous increase. Blessings come in expected and unexpected ways. God provides for me in wonderful ways. I am grateful, and so it is. Amen. Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. One powerfully held positive thought will outweigh 1,000 piddling negative thoughts. I was facing something. This is about 25 years ago, and I don't even know what the circumstance was, but I remember the solution. There were a whole lot of little piddling negative things going on, and I was meditating on it, open to help, and what came to me was one powerfully held positive thought will outweigh 1,000 piddling negative thoughts. And then I saw Jesus on the cross saying, Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. And, there must have been 1,000 negative thoughts going on around him, but he held that one positive thought. In the circumstances, in all things, say yes. In the circumstances you're facing, say yes. So, we're going to take our offering now, and the affirmation we're going to use is, in my giving, I say yes to life. In my receiving, I say yes to life. Together? In my giving, I say yes to life. In my receiving, I say yes to life. And silently. And again aloud together. In my giving, I say yes to life. In my receiving, I say yes to life. And so it is. Amen. That will come up during the week that will bear great growth. We set up the energy for our week right now. The week to come is a week of great potential, promise, and possibility. And so we prepare the soil for the planting of the seed by relaxing the body, using the meditation from Eat, Pray, Love. I put a smile on my face, and just put a smile in your eyes, a smile in your mind, a smile in your heart, and even said a smile all the way down to your liver, as deep as you can go. Cultivate the soil deeply. Cultivate your consciousness so that your whole consciousness, your whole aura and energy smile. And now I affirm life. In all of its forms, I affirm life. I say yes to life. Whatever may be going on, I unconditionally say yes to life. Whatever the conditions of life, I affirm that the life force energy of God in me is growing stronger. Whatever my need is, it is met now in the presence and power of God within me. I let go into this presence, this power. I surrender to the power and presence of God within me. I let go. I let go. I surrender into the presence and power of God within me. And I trust. I have faith. And I plant the seed for good outcomes this week. I see everything working out for the highest good without outlining specifics. I feel and generate a heart energy of well-being and positivity and growth. I expand in my goodness of heart, and I embrace all people, all conditions, all outcomes. I expand in my goodness of heart, and I embrace all. I let go into this potential for goodness that outforms as I plant my seed. Let divine order be established in everything this week. Let that spiritual energy and those life forces move forward to bring everything into harmony and alignment. I cooperate with the good, even when the good doesn't look the way I expected it to. I move with the flow of life. I am in the flow of life, and I am the flow of life. I surrender into the power and presence of God within me, and I rest in this flowing stillness. Thank you, God, that I put my overwhelming energy on increasing the good, planting the seeds, cultivating the consciousness, moving ahead. There's always going to be weeding. There's always going to be something to deal with. But right now, I am in my seed planting mode. I am establishing and setting up the vibration and energy that brings about the highest and best possible outcomes. My heart is full. My heart is full. I am at peace. I am at peace, and all is well. Thank you, God, and so it is.